Hello and welcome back to the Storybook Skeins podcast. My name is Kendra and this is my kind of bi-weekly update on some of the things that I have been making and just creating. In this episode you'll find some knitting content, some of the projects that I've been working on, some things leading up to Christmas, as well as a little bit of spinning. There's not much for sewing today or crochet, but sometimes those things come in, as well as some dyeing and some new self-striping and other yarns that will be going in my Etsy shop. So you can find me on Instagram as @Storybook Skeins and the same on Etsy as well. Thank you so much to everyone who is returning and coming back to watch another episode, and a special welcome to everyone who is new. If you are new, I will just give a quick little intro. My name is Kendra. Like I said, I live in small town Saskatchewan, and I have a husband and two young kids, a 3 and 1 year old. And yeah, this is just my kind of ongoing journal of things that I have been working on. So I'm going to jump right in and with the knitting content. To begin with, I just want to say I don't have any finished objects this week. I've had quite a few the last couple weeks and I'm pretty close to being done 2 projects, but for now they're just works in progress, but I expect they'll be done in the next kind of week or so. I just need to buckle down and get them done. So jumping into works in progress. The first item I have been working on has kind of been an ongoing project, and it is the Risen sweater by Melanie Berg. This is an open-faced cardigan. It has a collar detail and 3/4 length sleeve with a really interesting ribbing, and yeah, so I'll show you where I'm at. Here's what the sweater is looking like so far. You can see I have made quite a bit of progress from last week, or 2 weeks ago I guess. At that time I had just split for the sleeves, and I actually finished up the body. The first sleeve is done and I'm almost, well, I'm about halfway through the second sleeve now. So that's where I'm at. Actually started off doing these sleeves 2 at a time, which is how I like to knit my socks 2 at a time, and it just seems to make the time fly by when you've got them both on the needle. However, I split my yarn into 2 balls, and I'll preface this by saying I had only dyed up 3 skeins of yarn for this, and it was kind of borderline to begin with whether I would have enough yarn. The skeins are 115 grams of fingering weight, so not tiny, but still I wasn't really sure whether I should have done the 4th or not. And yeah, so I thought 2 at a time sleeves, I'll be able to get this done and see how much yarn I have left, if I can make them full length or just stick with the 3/4 like in the pattern. However, when I got going, I was not really happy with how the yarn was working up. You can't really see it anymore, but when I was knitting, it really looked like it was starting to pool because I wasn't alternating skeins. I had 1 ball for each sleeve rather than 2 balls for each sleeves, and I alternated skeins all throughout the body. And so yeah, I decided to stop that. I cut the yarn on the one and began working on 1 at a time, and then I used the 2 balls to alternate throughout. You probably can't see too well, but I just carried the yarn up, switching every row or 2, just to kind of keep up and try to keep the color as consistent as I could. And again, now that I look at it, you can't really see where I thought the pooling was happening, but it just helps to make sure that the color is even and similar to the body. So now I'm just working on sleeve number 2. I'm using a size 5 Xiaodu needle, and yeah, just doing it magic loop, and it's working up pretty quickly. However, since I'm on sleeves on this project and on my next one, as you'll see, just feels like it's been nothing but sleeves lately. But I know that means that I'm getting close to being done, and it won't take too much work now to just kind of buckle down, do the last few inches, get that last ribbing done, and it will be ready to be worn. So like I said, I'm really looking forward to having this done and being able to wear it. I think it's going to be just really wearable, fairly neutral, but still, you know, it's been really interesting to knit and see how the yarns knit up, and it's kept it interesting, but still will be really workable, I think. So that's where I'm at with project number 1 this week. My second work in progress, I only briefly mentioned last week as a plan to be working on it, but I got going on it and I've got it almost all the way done. It is the Prairie Fire pattern by Tincan knits. One thing I really like about this pattern, and most Tincan knit patterns, is that there's a really wide range of sizes, and so it's all the way from newborn all the way up to about 2 or 3 XL. And so that's that one that I could definitely see making for myself at some point in the future. Right now I am working on the size 4 to 6 as it's listed in the pattern for my daughter, who will be 4 in January. The yarn I'm using is Wool-like in the mauve colorway. It is just a really inexpensive yarn by Loops and Thread. You can find it at Michael's, and it's considered a light fingering weight yarn, and so I'm holding it double to make it more more of a DK weight as the pattern calls for. So this is how my sweater is working up so far. I did have my daughter try it on, and it is more of a tunic length. So I'll make sure that she's wearing it probably just with some leggings, more like a sweater dress than just like a top. And I'm thinking at this point that I'm going to leave it short sleeves. I want this to be kind of like her Christmas sweater, and I just know that the way that Christmas gatherings seem to go, even though it's cold outside, it always gets hot in the house, and with the lace pattern it's going to need something for sure underneath it. And so I think by keeping it short sleeved, it will be pretty versatile, and she could always wear long sleeves underneath it if she needed it for, you know, chillier weather. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm on the first sleeve, and I just started the garter bumps, which will be the edging on it. So I have one sleeve almost all the way done. I'm just using my boy needles. And these are a size 6. And yeah, now I just have the other sleeve to finish up, and I'm pretty sure it will be done pretty quickly. And I'm really looking forward to having this done and being able to be worn for Christmas. It's also worth mentioning I had to pick up a second ball of this yarn, no doubt because it was being held double for the project, but I am going to have quite a lot left, and I'm thinking at the moment that my 1-year-old might end up with a little, maybe a sweater vest or something made with the remainder of this. I've been browsing patterns, it seems like to no end, and haven't been able to decide on something, although I have been looking at, there's an Argyle vest pattern. And so it uses a main color for most of the back and, you know, primary on the front, and then has diamonds of other colors on the front as well. And so I'm thinking that might be a good choice for him. Extra bonus, no more sleeves to knit, but I think a sweater vest will be really cute and definitely manageable in the next few weeks before Christmas. So stay tuned for that. That's kind of my plan for the rest of this yarn. But I have to get these 2 sweaters off the needles first before taking on anything new at this point. My last work in progress this week is just a pair of vanilla socks. I showed these last week, and I haven't made a ton of progress, but I have picked them up a few times. I went ahead and put in the heels, and these are just my classic regular vanilla sock pattern that I make the same all the time. These will be for me. So the way I do mine is obviously 2 at a time toe up, as you can see. I dyed this yarn, and it was kind of like a prototype for a later self-striping with some purple that I put in my Etsy shop. And so it just has a tonal gray toe and heel, and I've got enough I could do a cuff, but I'm not sure if I'll get there or not yet. So here I just cast on 8 stitches and then put 2 in each stitch the next round, and continued on increasing at the beginning of and end of each needle, so at the halfway point of each round, until it got to 56 stitches. I am using my 2.25 Shagu needle, and yeah, they're working up really well. Like I said, I'm not sure about the cuff yet. I have some, I'm probably just going to knit until I'm out of yarn, and then we'll see how long they are. I should have lots of yarn left, so we'll see how long that leg gets, if I want to have the contrast cuff or just continue on with this colorway. So another project that's just super mindless and easy to pick up for lots of different times, and it's just fun to see all the colors come about in this pair. So that is really all I have for knitting this week. However, I have completed a little bit of spinning this week. So the first thing I want to share is this merino that has been spun up and plied. I just finished this week. I dyed it quite some time ago and have just been kind of working on it here or there. It is kind of a looser spin, and it just feels really fluffy and plump, and I think it's going to really, I don't know what exactly it'll be used for, but I really like how the colors all play together. One thing I am considering making is the Exploration Station shawl pattern by Stephen West. I've kind of seen this for I've been looking at it for quite some time, and I've seen lots of other people knit it up in different color combinations, and I was thinking how neat it would be to do a hand spun version, although it would take a little bit of changing since I believe that one calls for fingering weight yarn, and this is more of probably a worsted weight. I've got this, I've got a little bit of the purple left from the shawl that I had made, or the scarf, last week, and I think that would go nicely. And so with that in mind, although it's not confirmed or anything, I might change my mind yet, I thought I would dye up some neutral fiber and get started on spinning it as kind of a complementary color to join this one. So that is what I have on my wheel right here. I just dyed up a bit of fiber in this different gray tones, and yeah, it's going to give it a little bit of a tonal look, I think, in the yarn, but it's much more neutral than my last few spins. I only actually started spinning it up this morning, so I haven't gotten too much done yet. Cut my wheel out so you could see, but yeah, I think it's just going to be really nice to sit down and work on here and there when I get the chance. Something like spinning is I really like to have just kind of on the back burner. It's nice and fairly mindless to pick it up, and it's just really, it's a nice change from the knitting, but it's still, you know, it's closely related. And I am having a shop update on Tuesday, December 5th. And I have some self-striping colorways going in, as well as some speckled yarns and sock sets. So I thought I would share with you what I have been working on and what will be going in on Tuesday. So first up, I have this gobstopper ball of Winter Slumber, it's called. It's a 4-color repeat that goes from the bright blue into the navy to the gray and the purple. And they're all really tonal colors with lots of variation in them. Alright, so this next skein is something a little different. It was kind of a dye experiment. It's a kind of subtly speckled skinny stripes sock yarn. But I was kind of trying and playing with the yarn, and this is like a self-striping, although on a sock it will make skinnier stripes. And like I said, with the speckles, there'll be a lot of variation in the stripes. It won't be like that perfect set for both pairs. And it's also kind of, I thought the skinnier stripes would work well and be versatile for other projects, like a hat or something, and it would play into that nicely. There's a combination of colors. It was, there's gray with speckles, and then this light, kind of in this skyish color blue. And then there's some pops of lighter purple and darker purple. And yeah, that's kind of what I ended up with, and I'm really excited to see how it looks knit up. But there will be some of this in the shop this week. Alright, my next is going to be a sock set. And so first I'll show you my yarn. I was going for kind of a highlight, low light sort of situation here. So these are both 50-gram skeins, and they're going to be sold separately with a mini. With a 25-gram mini. So the first would be this one here. It's Fuchsia in the Sun, and it is really bright pink and purple with some black speckles. And then this is kind of like the reverse, like the low light version, where it is black and gray, kind of tonally colors, with those pinks and purple speckles in it. So it was kind of just a fun way to play with the highs and lows in these colors. And I have some black mini that'll be going, well, it's a blackish gray, that'll be sold with the daytime one, and the Fuchsia at night is going to have just a magenta mini that it will be ready for Tuesday. So I have those going in. I also have 2 more new self-striping colorways that are going to be really fun, and they're just not quite ready to be shown yet. But really, come check out the shop if you are interested in other self-striping and speckled as well. Alright, so that is all I have to share for today. It was kind of short and sweet, but hopefully you enjoyed kind of a peek into my projects this week. I'm hoping to be back in the next week or 2 to give you another update. I should have lots of like these Christmas sweaters and things off the needles, so I'm hoping to make some good progress in the next couple weeks on that. Yeah, until next time, I look forward to speaking with you again. Like I said, if you're interested in any of my yarn, check out the Etsy shop on Tuesday morning, and those will be updated at that time. If not, check back for more videos in the future. Alright, bye!